policy and the courts in the U.S. next year, even though most of the states that were expected to impose restrictions have already done so. Since Roe versus Wade was overturned, abortion-related questions have been on the ballot in 7 states in all, and the pro-abortion side has prevailed in all of those cases. This is SRN News. It's a timely warning at a time of year with a lot of new toys in the hands of the little ones, and Keith Peters reports on an alert coming from the Consumer Product Safety Commission.
It's ordered a recall of toys sold at Walmart.com containing powerful magnetic balls that could pose a hazard to children if swallowed. The agency said Friday that the balls, which are 0.2 inches in diameter, exceed federal standards for magnetic strength and could clump together to block parts of the digestive system when ingested. The CPSC estimates that 2,400 magnetic ingestions were treated in hospital emergency rooms between 2017 and 2021 and says it's aware of 7 deaths related to the ingestion of hazardous magnets, including 2 outside of the U.S. The magnet kit was made in China. Keith Peters reporting.
You'll find more on these stories at srnnews.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and we're going to be with you for the next hour to answer all your legal questions. So if you have questions, give us a call now, 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of the show. We're ready to screen your call and get you live on the air with me. For those of you new to the program, welcome. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith, and this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. We're a weekly legal call-in show where you can call in with your legal questions, and we give you and the rest of the listening audience the very best legal advice we can live on the air every Saturday morning, heard throughout the great state of Florida now. And you want to be part of the show, your way to do so, 877-943-9673. They're already busy away screening calls to get you live on the air with us. Give us a call if you want to be one of those callers. 877-943-9673. You can email your question, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. And again, always want to encourage you to visit the website. Give us your feedback on the website experience, attorneypatricksmith.com. That's also where you can find all the podcast version of prior shows. If you want to go back and listen to some of our shows we've done on short-term rentals or the overturning of Roe versus Wade, any previous shows we've done, you can go back and listen on demand at attorneypatricksmith.com. But to be part of today's show, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. So in show prep this week, we came across a story that sort of hit on all cylinders for me because, as many of you know, I'm a big baseball fan. And according to the Wall Street Journal, there is the succession of a great baseball organization, the Baltimore Orioles, that is currently in turmoil. And so with the intersection of baseball and estate planning in one story, how could we not address this story during part of the show? So according to the Wall Street Journal, the 94-year-old owner, first of all, let's just celebrate the fact that he made it to 94. That's an amazing accomplishment. And oh yeah, by the way, he owns a Major League Baseball team. Young man's name, Peter Angelos, has made it clear that he wants his team sold upon his passing. However, he has a older son who is named John, who apparently has some other plans. And according to the Wall Street Journal, I'll save you the detailed copy. I think reading copy is boring on the air. So here's the gist. John doesn't want the team sold. The dad does want the team sold. Dad's logic of selling the team was turn it into cash so that his wife and children could enjoy the wealth that he's amassed. But basically, the son, John, wants to turn it into this overall project where it's basically a revitalization of Baltimore, and it involves hotels and bars and things of that nature, and it's a real investment in the city. And the short version is it's in flux. Lawsuits were filed, then they were withdrawn, and the gist of it is no one's clear on how it's going to shake out. But right now, the owner, Peter, is still alive, and all sources seem to agree that the team's not being sold while he's alive. So what's the take-home lesson for you and I? Well, you may not own a Major League Baseball team, but you have the opportunity, like Peter, to make your wishes clear. Here, he apparently wants his team sold when he passes. Well, it causes you to think about, what do you want done with your stuff? Make sure you take time to memorialize that in a good estate plan. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a Major League Baseball team. It can be, your home, your investment accounts. How do you want the family to receive this? Which family members and in what shares do you want to receive this? Memorialize it and put it in writing so that the family doesn't have to go through some of the turmoil that this family is going through. So thoughts on that? 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. First caller of the day, we're going to go to Dawn in Sarasota. Dawn, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Hey, Dawn, are you there? All right, Dawn, let's try again. Are you there? Hey, Yumiko, is there an issue? Okay. All right. Well, if you're trying to call in, 877-943-9673, 877-943, Dawn, call back. We'll get you right on the air. 877-943-9673. Let's go to St. Petersburg and talk to Tom. Tom, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Hey, Tom, how are you today? Hey, guys, is there a problem with the phone lines? 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. They're working feverishly, I think, on trying to remedy the phone issue. 877-943-9673. Tom, are you there in St. Pete?
The phone issue, 877-943-9673.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, turn your radio down. Thank you so much. I appreciate your patience. How can we help you today?
I'm resident of St. Petersburg. My daughter from out of town was visiting me with her 2-year-old child. It has to do with the hospital bill and the collection agency and credit reporting.
Go ahead with your question, Tom.
Okay. My granddaughter fell and hurt herself. We went to the hospital. She got stitches. She's fine. She received a bill from the a collection agency, and it's regarding the hospital bill, which was for just about $1,500, and surprisingly, it had a line on there for payments discounts, and that was a little bit over $1,000. So the net bill she received was $468. I got on the internet, and it says that medical bills that are under $500 are not reported by the credit agencies. And I'm just curious as to what number they're looking at, the gross amount before the discount or the discounted bill, the first one she received, which was $468.
I don't know is the short answer, but there's an attorney I worked with years ago out of Orlando who practiced a lot of debtor-creditor law. And if you want to give me a call at the office next week, Tom, I'll put you in touch with this gentleman. He used to be a frequent guest on the show as well. I'll put you in touch with Don is his name, and he'll kind of give you a chapter and verse on that. I know that a lot of times he would have people, they would be sent debt collection notices for debts they didn't owe. And I remember him telling people consistently, respond with, I dispute the debt, please verify, but don't give a lot of information beyond that. And yours is a different question. I think it's a great question about what's that threshold that's going to cause it to get reported. And I don't know. And there may not be a threshold. It may be different person to person or creditor to creditor. So I'll put you in touch with Don, and then he can let us both know what the answer is.
That's 877-754-6764.
Yeah, I hadn't even given it out today. How did you know it? Did you have it written down from a last show?
Last show, yes.
All right. Well, we appreciate your faithful listenership, Tom. How was your Christmas?
It was wonderful. Just wonderful. Safe, drove, but the traffic was not as bad as I expected. So it was great.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. And thanks again for calling in and listening to the show.
Well, thank you for being so helpful. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. All righty, this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local. Happy to help any way we can. All right, Dawn in Sarasota. Dawn, are you there?
I am. I can hear you.
Dawn, our sincerest apologies. That was beneath the standard of this show, your experience. So I apologize for that. How can we help you today, Dawn?
Well, I write a lot of contracts, and buyers and sellers write contracts on houses, and basically the only person who has control, whether it closes or not, is the lender. So if everyone's cooperating and the lender denies the loan, the house doesn't close. So what we've been doing is recommending to sellers that they pick a lender that they know will qualify a buyer thoroughly and really give us a definitive answer of whether this buyer is going to close or not.
Hey,
So
Dawn,
we're putting on the
Dawn, is
Yeah.
there a question?
yes.
All
Can
right.
a seller require a buyer to use a specific lender or just not accept their contract?
Can a seller well, I think anything's negotiable, isn't it? I mean, so in the contract, I mean, people will negotiate over whether or not the appliances convey. So I think, sure, why not? You could have them say, hey, look, if you're going to close and I'm going to require, it's a ridiculous thing in my opinion, but there's nothing saying that they can't request or demand that if you're going to buy this home from me, you're going to do so through this lender. I mean, I don't see any reason why a private seller wouldn't have the authority to request that, but the buyer would also have the same authority to say, well, I'm not going to buy it then. I'm going to walk away and go somewhere else.
That is exactly right. And so we've had agents say you can't make a buyer use a certain lender. And I would say, well, then have your buyer buy a different house then.
Yeah, it's a free market, and that's the point. So, yeah, no, great
Well,
question, Dawn. I appreciate you calling.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure your phone lines are going to be working fine.
All righty, thank you, Dawn. 877-943-9673. If you want to be part of today's show, 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're happy to help any way we can. If you have a legal question, Tom with a debtor creditor question about a hospital bill and sort of the threshold for creditors, and then Dawn there with a question about whether or not a seller could require a particular lender, but anything's negotiable in those real estate contracts as far as terms, conditions, inspection periods, escrow money, when the escrow money goes hard and is locked in. So 877-943-9673. If you want to be part of today's show, 877-943-9673. And we kicked off the top of the show with the discussion of the succession drama gripping the Baltimore Orioles organization right now, according to the Wall Street Journal, and sort of parlayed that into a closer to home conversation about making sure that you've memorialized your estate planning wishes in your document so that your family hopefully doesn't experience any turmoil or any drama, or as little turmoil and drama as possible. And we're seeing a lot of it over the holidays with people having these hard conversations. And as hard as those conversations can be, not having those conversations will produce some dramatic outcomes. So we would encourage you to have those conversations with your family and then get with your qualified estate planning attorney to memorialize your wishes in writing. And speaking of good planning, our next piece, according to WFLA, we now have the identity of our Florida Mega Millions winner, which claimed the record-setting prize of $1.6 billion. So $1.6 billion. And again, according to WFLA, the identity of the Mega Millions winner, who claimed the record-breaking lottery sum of $1.6 million, is now released. And the identity is Saltines Holdings, LLC. So Saltines Holding LLC. Now, a lot of you know in the state of Florida, the LLC information, the owner of the LLC's information is public record, but the planning here, pretty advanced. They actually went to the state of Delaware where you can keep confidential the owner of an LLC. So as far as we'll ever know, the lump sum recipient of $794 million plus will only be known to us as Saltines Holdings LLC. And remember, in the state of Florida, which is where the winner actually bought the ticket, you can actually keep the identity private for up to 90 days under Florida state law. We actually did a couple of shows on this back when this was unfolding, but through good planning, like we were saying there, with the Baltimore Orioles saga, and then basically using that as an opportunity. Here's an example. Someone here took that opportunity, came into a large lump sum, and then through good planning protected their identity by creating an LLC through the state of Delaware. But the big question is, if you won that kind of money, would you really care if you were anonymous or not? Like, I don't know. Maybe you have an opinion on that. If you won $794 million, like that's the actual take home. If your identity is known versus unknown, what's the difference going to be like? I'm kind of curious. So if you won that kind of money, what would you do? Would you want your identity protected? Would you care? Or would you just want some time to kind of get things settled and then you'd let everybody know you won? Like, what were your thoughts beyond that? 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's show. If you have a thought or comment on anything we're discussing, or if you have a legal question that's completely off the wall, you're welcome to call in now. 877-943-9673. And we had Gloria on the line. Gloria, you hung up. If you're listening, still call back. We'll put you right on the air. 877-943-9673. So again, to reach us at the office, Tom already had the number written down. So apparently it's working. We're giving it out more frequently. The complaints about not giving out the phone number enough are dwindling off. So to that end, here's the office line. If you want to schedule your complimentary consultation at any of our office locations in Sarasota, Claremont, Clearwater, Sun City Center, 877-754-6764. I should have just had Tom keep giving it out. That would have been neat. 877-754-6764. That's your live and local number to reach the office to schedule your complimentary consultation. So again, 877-754-6764. That office line works Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Any member of the staff would be more than happy to get you scheduled for your complimentary estate planning consultation with yours truly. Again, one last time, 877-754-6764. But we want to talk to you live today. Give us a call, 877-943-9673. That's the studio line, 877-943-9673. And I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, local Central Florida attorney, Florida born and raised, and live here in beautiful Pinellas County, and happy to serve you on Saturday mornings by answering your legal questions. So if you had a legal question that came up during your holiday season, your family discussion, and you want to bring it to the attorney directly, 877-943-9673, or email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. And speaking engagement coming up this week, for those of you in the Leesburg area, I will be speaking this Thursday at 5 p.m. for the African Heritage Club of Royal Highlands. So for those of you in the Leesburg, kind of that Claremont, Southern Villages area, if you have any interest in attending, we'll be doing a presentation on estate planning for 2024 and some of the new things you need to be aware of and some questions. There will be a Q&A section to follow, so there will be plenty of time for that. It's always my favorite part because it gives me a sense of kind of what's on the mind of the people. So looking forward to that. And again, that's the African Heritage Club of Royal Highlands this Thursday at 5 p.m. So if you would like to come out, give the office a call. They'll make sure you know how to get there and you can attend that seminar this Thursday at 5 p.m. And if you have a group or organization that needs a speaker, we again are available. You can book us absolutely free of charge by giving that office line a call, 877-754-6764. 877-754-6764, or you can email me directly, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com, or you can also just go directly to the website, attorneypatricksmith.com, and you can submit directly through the website a request for us to come and speak to your club, group, or organization. But to be part of today's show, 877-943-9673. Next, let's go to Tampa. Let's talk to Mike. Mike, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
I have a question about the lottery winner real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So if you live in Florida and you do the LLC in Delaware, can you avoid state taxes in Florida that way? I mean, keep not paying state taxes that way by living in Florida?
Which taxes are you talking about?
State income taxes.
Okay, well, those are two different things. There's 4 major transfer taxes under the Internal Revenue Code, as I understand it. And again, I'm not a CPA, so if you're a CPA out there listening and you want to call in and chime in on this, you're welcome to do so. So, estate taxes, current exemption, at least for a couple more days, 12.9 million. That's a federal law. An estate this large is going to be exposed to that. So, Delaware, Texas, Florida really wouldn't matter. That's a federal law, and you're going to have to accommodate and plan through charitable or some sort of rather advanced estate plan to reduce or eliminate estate taxes. Now, income taxes, that's a great question. So I'm a Florida resident and I set up a Delaware LLC. Am I now subject to Delaware state income tax requirements? My answer off the hip, Mike, would probably be yes. But again, I give you the caveat of you definitely want to check with an accountant on that to get a final opinion because it's an income tax question. And again, when it comes to those 4 transfer taxes, you've got estate, income, gift, and generation skipping. Anytime income tax is involved, you always got to call that great CPA because it's so nuanced, especially between the states. But I think, yeah, if you go and create an LLC in Delaware, I think you're basically inviting any sort of Delaware taxation. The logic being sort of like, what's one thing all Delaware residents do? Well, Delaware residents pay Delaware taxes. So why wouldn't Delaware LLCs pay Delaware taxes? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Okay.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. But definitely check with that CPA. Were you the winner, by the way, Mike?
I wish.
Yeah, right. Right. You'd probably be doing something better than just calling in to a radio show on Saturday morning, I'm guessing, if you just won $749 million.
Yes, I'd be elsewhere.
All right, Mike, we appreciate you calling in and have a happy new year. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Love your show.
Right, thank you. 877-943-9673. You can also call in with your New Year's resolutions. That's I meant to start the show talking about that a little bit, but I'm not a big New Year's resolutions guy because I think if you need to start doing something better in your life, you start whenever. You don't wait for the new year. But if you want to share a New Year's resolution with us, you're welcome to do so. We invite you to call in. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. And I tell you right now, if you win that kind of wealth, in addition to calling your attorney, you definitely need to call your accountant and your financial advisor. And it's sort of that trilogy of professionals that are going to orchestrate the plan to maximize your protection walking into that caliber of wealth. So if you have a legal question like Mike, 877-943-9673. Let's go to my hometown of Winter Haven. Let's talk to Christian. Christian, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hi, Patrick.
How are
My
you?
question is, all right, a little chilly out this morning. My roommate, she had, this is about estate and mostly, but her husband had passed away her ex-husband had passed away about 6 months ago. He had gone through a dissolution of marriage himself. She wasn't aware of it. And they'd been married for 14 years. She was in the Keys at the time. He put the paperwork in, and she's originally from Honduras. She's an American resident, and she got zero from the 14 years of marriage. Put her 401k in the beginning, $30,000. That account was, he got into that and put it into his name, I guess, or did something with it. But anyways, he had passed away. She had helped him the final year of his life. And her name is not on the deed of the house, which is about $270,000 paid into a $330,000 home. His family, brothers and everything, his brother's the executor, and her name is only on the mortgage. Does she have any claim or interest in the home?
Was there a prenuptial or postnuptial agreement?
No.
All right. Was this the decedent's primary homestead property?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that she definitely has some rights, and they're probably time sensitive. So within 6 months of that date of death, she's going to need to make a decision about whether or not she wants to take the right to live in that home the rest of her life, called the life estate option, which is the default option, or she has the right to elect a tenant in common election and take half the value of that home. So I think she needs to consult an attorney immediately about what her rights are and what actions she needs to take to protect those rights, Christian.
She being from Honduras, she wasn't familiar with, kept in the dark a lot about, ways in the United States of America. And the brothers of her ex-husband they gave her some money to go out to a couple $1,000s to go back out to Honduras to take care of her mother. Well, she returned here, and the only problem is a money problem with getting what would it be, an estate attorney?
Yeah, I think that's where you would start. Is follow an initial consultation would be what would be her rights to her late husband's assets. And then sort of walking through there as far as the homestead analysis, maybe a possible spousal elective share under Florida statute, and just sort of getting her bearings. When did her husband pass away?
I believe it was about going on 6 months now.
Yeah, that's a critical timeline. So once she passes that, there's no going back. So she needs to get with an attorney immediately. And if she wants our help, just have her give us a call at the office, and Christian will be happy to help. Okay.
Okay. Can I have the number?
Yeah, the office line again is 877-754-6764. 877-754-6764. And we'll make sure to get her pointed in the right direction. Okay, Christian?
Thank you very much, Tom.
You're welcome. Have a happy New Year. I don't know who Tom is, but I'm sure he does a great radio show too.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm excited over this.
That's okay. That's okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Christian. Have a happy New Year. Okay.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. Well, listen, sometimes people get nervous, and I lose track of that. Some people have mic fright and they get nervous when they're on the air. So I can appreciate that, Christian. It's okay. I don't take it personally. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Next, we're going to Tarpon, and we're going to talk to Ron. Ron, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning, Patrick.
Hey, Ron, what's going on?
My mother passed away probably 2.5 years ago in Kansas. My sister is the trustee. She's a very good sister and has managed the handling of the trust okay, but she's very unorganized. How do I hold a trustee accountable for zero accounting, will not provide any documentation, will not state what the beginning assets are, where expenses are, income that came in, and now she wants to finalize the estate with payouts. And it's written in there that if I accept my payout, then I have no recourse to go back unless there's detection of fraud. So how do I hold her accountable? It says in the trust, there's an Article 20 called accounting that she's supposed to deliver to any beneficiary.
So I'll go ahead and start, Ron, by saying you're going to need a Kansas attorney. But if this were a Florida case, Florida has a mandatory duty to account. So the trustee has a fiduciary duty to account to all beneficiaries. So you actually have the right and authority to demand that accounting. And at any point in the administration, you can actually demand what they call an interim accounting. So the accounting may not be due. It's an annual accounting requirement. And say they're only 6 months in, but you got the feeling that something's off. You have the right to demand an interim accounting from your trustee at that time. So I think get with a Kansas attorney and then have them tell you what the rights are in Kansas under Kansas statute. Fire off that letter, either yourself or hire the attorney to do it for you. That will snap her into line, because now she's going to have an attorney breathing down her neck saying, look, these are the rules. You're not following them, and we're going to hold you accountable for that. But it's all going to be a question of, as far as which rules and how in violation, if she is in violation of any rules, it's all going to be a question of Kansas state law. So again, start with that Kansas attorney.
So I can make the request either directly to my sister or to the trust attorney?
So if your sister's represented by counsel already, I would say you can address either. But if she's represented by counsel, you're probably going to be best served by going and getting your own attorney, at least for that letter, just to make it a fair fight. Because the first thing she's going to do is take it to her attorney.
Yeah, because I've requested accounting several times, and she's literally told me, "No, I will not provide you these statements."
Did you do it?
Too many red flags.
Did you make that request in writing?
I need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a paper trail. So if you wind up in front of a judge, otherwise the judge is going to say, "Prove to me you made those requests," and you have no evidence because you can't give that evidence of a phone call. So I would paper trail it, get counsel, start sending letters, certified letters, and that way you've got a paper trail of all these communications.
One advice I would give going through this myself: when your listeners choose a trustee for their estate, try not to choose just a friend or somebody you think is going to do a good job. Make sure they are extremely organized and can keep records from beginning through end.
That's a great point, Ron. And one of the things I tell clients when we get to that point in the consultation is I say, when you go to pick a trustee, a lot of times people just knee jerk into who's the oldest child. That's sort of their birthright, right? And that's not really an effective strategy for picking the most efficient trustee. And I mean, if we're picking trust already, we've agreed that trusts are the most efficient option. So we've admitted also that efficiency is a good goal to desire. So in the spirit of efficiency, why would we just pick the oldest person? I tell people, let's pick the one who's going to handle the pressure best, the grief best, who's good with money, who's organized. It's sort of those facts that you want to come into play. And sometimes people say, well, who's closest. I mean, proximity can play an issue, but it shouldn't be the outcome determinative issue. So, but you're right. It's a careful selection process. And the other thing is too, like we say, the biggest mistake in estate planning, people don't do it, but a close second is people don't update what they've done. So you need to revisit every so often who you've picked as a trustee for your family and see if you need to adjust that. People may have changed. Other people so maybe you had a grandchild go to law school, become an attorney, become a financial advisor, and they've sort of surpassed the previous trustee you picked. So you need to revisit that with your attorney every so often to make sure you're maintaining that optimization you had the day you created the plan.
Yeah, people are generally good, but when you pose hundreds of thousands of dollars in front of them, and a lot of times not that much accountability if you have a trustee that's out of state and they get to see everything as a beneficiary. Unless they provide accounting, you get to see almost zero.
Well, and like we started off the top of the show talking about owning. Can you imagine being the trustee for the Angelos family that owns the Baltimore Orioles? I mean, the level of sophisticated accounting that's going to be required for that report. I mean, it's going to be breathtaking. So you have to kind of adjust your trustee selection to the scenario, to the skill sets required for that. But it's a great point, Ron, and we appreciate your call.
Okay, thanks, Patrick.
Have a happy New Year. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Next, we are going to go to Anthony in Tampa. Anthony, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hi, good morning, Patrick. Thank you for taking the call. My call is in regards to the whole lottery issue you brought up earlier in the show. First off, the remaining anonymous when the person wins the lottery. Now, in my, I guess it wouldn't it be for safety reasons that they would keep it under wraps in regards to families? The whole issue of maybe people being kidnapped or held for ransom, to get money from the winner, or some kind of threatening threat. Wouldn't that be an issue there for the main reason for remaining anonymous? And I guess second would be, I received 2 emails. One I recall was from a winner in New Jersey who wanted to share from his bountiful.
Hey, Anthony, it sounds like you keep walking away from the phone and then you're walking back by or something.
Okay, is it better now?
That's better. Stay wherever you are right now.
Okay. So do you want me to repeat the 2 issues?
I heard part 1. You were starting part 2. Go.
Okay. Part 2 is concerning winners from other states who want to share their bountiful winnings by emailing suspected strangers and wanting to share their bounty with them, and then they want the the person receiving the email to send them information in regarding purchasing, I believe, a card, a gift card, and then requiring the person they emailed to send them the number of the gift card, and then in turn some other steps. I forgot what they were. I went through the whole step to try to find out what it was. And
Anthony, no, you didn't. You knew this was a scam.
yes, absolutely, I knew it was a scam. Actually, a girl from the Walgreens store, in which I went to purchase the gift card to then start the procedure, told me, "Don't do it. It's a scam."
Hold on.
And
So wait
yes,
a second. So you were actually
yes.
you were at a store ready to buy the gift card, and your
Exactly.
and
yes,
your savior
yes.
was the employee,
Yes.
the store clerk there was the
Yes,
one who's like,
yes.
"Hey, man."
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I went to that degree of vulnerability, and so I wanted just to put that out in case others are receiving the same emails to not go to the mind numbness that I went through to try to fall into that trap.
Well,
So that was yeah.
Did you tell her thank you?
Oh, absolutely. I went back and I told her I greatly appreciated her warning signs or warning sign to avoid me falling into that pit of deception. So absolutely.
How much did they want you to put on the gift card, Anthony?
I believe it was, if I remember right, it was 2 years ago. So I believe it was could have been 25. And that was just to start.
Yeah, they were going to see if you were going to do it. But I think you should go back to that store, buy the $25 gift card, and give it to the young lady that saved your hide on that. Because not only did she save you that $25, she saved you, and you indicated it, she saved you whatever big hit they were going to go for next. Because after the $25, then the next play in that scam is, well, now I need 500 or 5,000 or something like that. So that young lady really did you a very solid favor.
Matter of fact, I appreciate you mentioning that because the Walgreens is located right close to where I reside. So I will definitely go back and do that. So I thank you so much for that.
Well,
so,
Anthony, it's a wise lesson, and your first point's well made too. You want to make sure your family's safe and secure, but I think, after 90 days, I mean, can't you line up security or make sure everyone's aware? I mean, you would tell the family first and make sure they're aware of it, and if they really thought they were at risk, you could, with $700 million, you can hire private security 24/7, I'm assuming, and keep everybody safe. I think it's a matter of, you got those 90 days under Florida law to keep it private. And then, but you can eventually, the information's going to get out. So I think, private security could address that concern.
Okay. Sounds reasoning. So I appreciate that.
Anthony, we appreciate you listening to the show. Have a happy new year. Okay.
You do the same. Thank you to all your staff, too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's program. I'm attorney Patrick Smith, local Central Florida attorney. If you want to schedule your complimentary estate planning consultation with me, yours truly, if your New Year's resolution is to finally get your estate planning done or updated, if you haven't reviewed it in years, the office number to schedule your consultation in Sarasota, Sun City Center, Clearwater. I was looking at my calendar for next week. Busy day in Sun City Center on Tuesday. 877-754-6764. That office line to schedule your complimentary estate planning consultation at any of those office locations. 877-754-6764. All right, but to be part of today's show, 877-943-9673. Again, that toll-free line. Give us a call now, 877-943-9673. All right, next let's go to Steve in Largo. Steve, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hello, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I got a shotgun email from the property manager here at the condo association where I live, and they said there's a law about estoppel, and I'm not sure what that is. That's what my call was about. What is estoppel law? And they were describing a situation where a contractor may bill me as a homeowner. I'll disagree, won't pay it. He'll put a lien on my property, and if I don't pay, then he can go to the association for the money or something like that. Can you give me details on that?
So do you have a copy of the notice they sent you?
I got an email.
Right.
Now listen, don't misunderstand me. I do not have a legal problem at this point, but there's a law pending in the legislature of Florida that wants to change the current law on estoppel filing. And that's what my question is. You know about this?
I have not.
Right.
This legislation is not on my radar, but you're telling me it's new legislation on the Florida estoppel law.
Yes.
All right. I'm making a note now so that we can research that, and we'll do a follow-up segment on that, Steve. But I'm not aware of any new legislation, Florida estoppel related, but we will research that and do a follow-up segment on that once we have that information.
Briefly, what is estoppel law?
Well, so at the end of the day, you're talking about just basically a protective measure of some type. And a lot of times here, the particular situation you're talking about is a contractor who does work wants to make sure that they're being protected from not getting paid. And so basically, if they do the work and you pay your contractor and then the subcontractor did not get paid, they want to make sure that they have the right to come after you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, chain of command. I get chain of billing. Yeah, okay. All right. So yeah, that gets sticky. They want to go after. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great day. All righty, 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. Next, we're going into Anna Maria Island, and we're going to talk to Randy. Randy, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning, Patrick. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
My question, Patrick, I'll get a little background and then I'll get to the question. I'm a licensed Florida general contractor. I discovered that a business had been illegally using my GC license to secure business. I reported them to the DBPR, received notice this week that he has in fact violated several Florida statutes and has been turned over to the Florida DBPR legal team. So my question is, should I go after him civilly, or I didn't lose financially, but he's financially benefiting by illegally using my license?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a wills and trust guy, so that's more of a general civil litigation question. And I have a couple of different general civil litigation attorneys I work with, Randy. I'd be happy to put you in touch with them next week, and they'll give you a consultation and tell you whether or not the economics of pursuing that is worthwhile. There's also the stress factor you have to consider. And then if you do go after this guy, there's the risk of your name being even associated with his name for going after him. Sometimes there's a cost of that, just the association. And sometimes people say, well, I'm not even going to go after him because I don't even want to risk the perception that I'm at all affiliated with this person. So you have to sort of take all those factors into account. But yeah, just give us a call at the office. We'll put you in touch with a general civil litigation attorney who can put you through the full analysis so you can make an informed decision on whether or not that's worth pursuing.
Okay. Thank you for the answer, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Randy. Happy New Year. All righty, 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Next, we're going to Venice and talking to Jane. Jane, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Hey, hello, Patrick. Thank you. My name's Jane. I got a quick question. I understand in Florida that a spouse is entitled to 30% inheritance of an estate.
Not entitled necessarily. That's what we call an elective share. So the spouse has to elect for it. It's not automatic. Unlike homestead rights in the homestead property, those are spousal rights that are automatic. And the spouse has a choice about which types of rights they get in the homestead life estate or that tenant in common election within 6 months of the date of death. But the elective share is an election. They have to go after that.
Okay. Well, my question about that is, if someone has pay on debt, their accounts are all through the bank, pay on debt, and if the spouse doesn't get anything, you can still sue, even though pay on debt would go to different beneficiaries.
Yeah, I think that would be like a 732 analysis. And like as far as whether or not those POD or beneficiary accounts, life insurance, IRAs are inclusive in that analysis. But there's also set asides. So I think it's 732-2035 that lays out sort of what's included, but the next statute is 732-2045, and that says what you reduce it by. So sometimes when you go through that first analysis, it looks like your surviving widow or widower is getting this huge number. And then you got to make sure you do that second analysis because it does get reduced by things they receive. So say, for instance, you had an elective share of an estate that was, $300,000. And that's what it looks like your spouse is getting, or your surviving spouse is getting. But they don't necessarily tell you that there was a $500,000 life insurance policy that was left to them. There are things that can set aside and offset that elective share. So you want to make sure you do that full analysis before you go after that elective share.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Does that make sense, Jane?
It does. I'm just concerned that a spouse could avoid leaving anything to their surviving spouse by doing pay on death beneficiaries to other family members, children.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a conversation worth having between spouses, and the appropriate way to do that is with good nuptial agreement planning, so that the two parties are in agreement and there's no sort of underhanded dealings at the end of the day, and that's just good transparency. And I think that's more commentary on just the overall marriage. I think you need to have that kind of conversation. Say, hey, look, I'm concerned about this. I'm worried. Let's get some peace of mind, and that's the way you would achieve that goal, Jane.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate the advice.
Yes, Jane.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's show. 877-943-9673. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith. Next, let's go to Sarasota, and let's talk to Susan. Susan, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. How can we help you today?
Okay, I'm really nervous, so
I go
to a dentist.
Take a breath.
Okay.
You're doing great, and we're going to get through this together, okay?
I'll try to make it brief. I have insurance that covers dental, so I started with a dentist, and the first visit they charged me, and I questioned them about that because I'm on also state aid, Medicare, Medicaid. And then they continued a couple times charging me to the total of $253.98. So I called my insurance and we dealt with them back and forth. And then Thursday, I was speaking with them, and the girl was very good. She's filing a grievance that the insurance will pay me back. I don't want more than what I'm due, but I don't want my insurance to pay me back. They didn't overcharge me. So I've also found out that with my coverage, it's, I called the Attorney General's office. So I would deal through Medicare because Medicare pays for this. So she advised me that that's fraud, and they do have that now. They've confirmed it. You cannot reach this company no matter what you do. And so she got the same response. So I went into the company yesterday and picked up all my paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to the bank to get a copy of where they withdrew my money. And it truly was my own fault, but I'm older. I forget things. I don't know what went wrong with me.
Well, Susan,
but,
here's my advice, because I'm coming up on the hard out for the show. So I would say just sit back and wait and see what you get as far as communication. And whenever you get something, just call me at the office. Let me know what you received, and we'll go over it off the air to make sure you have some peace of mind about it. Okay?
Okay. And what is your number at the office? I'm
going to hang up with you, and I'm going to give out that office line. Okay?
I'm not on the radio. I'm in working right now.
877-754-6764. The toll-free office line. 877-754-6764. Okay, Susan, I got to let you go. Okay, thank you, my dear. You did great. Happy New Year. All righty, this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. A very special thank you to all of you out there as part of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show Nation who have made another year in broadcast an absolute pleasure. It is our honor and privilege to join you every Saturday morning to answer your legal questions. You're the reason why we do it, and I get your messages and your appreciation, and I really am surprised every day at how many people listen to our little Saturday morning radio show. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all your support of the show and for listening every Saturday. If you want to be part of next Saturday's show, 877-943-9673. Again, to reach me at the office during the week, 877-754-6764. This is Attorney Patrick Smith signing off, saying happy New Year, everyone. Be safe and enjoy 2024.